To do a video on homesteading tools, and what I realized is that I'm going to have to do several videos because I wanted to create a top 10 list of what the homesteader tools would be. And the reality of it is that it was just way too difficult to do that because you've got different types of mechanics tools that you need, you've got farm implements that you need, you've got tools that just go on your vehicle like come-alongs and chains and chain tighteners and stuff like that that can't really go into this top 10 list. So what I thought I'd do is I'd figure, okay, the idea being that if you're coming from the city and you don't have any tools at all, you've got nothing but you know this is the lifestyle that you eventually want to get to, and you want to get out to the country, you want to get that homestead lifestyle, where do you even start? What type of tools are you going to start with? And so the first thing that you have to do is you have to build your little tool bucket or your tool caddy. I use a tool bucket actually, and this is just a Husky bucket with a lid on there, but that's what I use, and that's my general job tool, or my job kit. And I use that for most things, from anything from setting fencing to my carpentry stuff inside the house if we're doing remodels or whatever it is. And then I have a separate toolbox, and that one's a little bit heavier, but that's actually right over here next to me. But and we'll go over that a little bit later, but that has all my stuff for like my auto mechanics. So when I'm fixing the car, the tractor, or whatever it is, that's the one that I take out with me. Now, as far as this toolbox goes, like I said, this has just general purpose tools. It can't do good at any one thing. It does great at a lot of little things. And so that's kind of what this is put together for. So maybe we'll do a separate video talking about what I actually keep in there. But just to get you guys started, we'll go ahead and list out the first 10 tools that you need for your toolkit. So instead of a top 10, this is the first 10. First tool that anybody needs is a good framing hammer. Framing hammers are very, very versatile. It's really hard to build a house with a finishing hammer, but you can actually do finishing work with a framing hammer. So it's kind of the opposite of a lot of things we think of. And this is typically the one that I use for 99% of the tasks that I have. A decent quality framing hammer. I like a wood handle. I know that they're a little bit weaker. They tend to break, but there's something that feels better about the swing of a hammer with a wood handle. And when you're doing a lot of work, that feel of it really does make a big difference. And so this is the same hammer that I had when I worked construction from the time I was 14 on. That's when I bought this hammer. It's seen a lot of use. It's built a lot of houses, but it's been a quality tool. Almost as important is having a good flat bar. You know, we used to have crowbars that were real common, and then somebody invented a flat bar, or at least it became popular. Anyway, it's not necessarily invented, but once these became popular, these seem to be what everybody used for any type of demolition work or even just pulling nails. These are almost indispensable, guys, and you think that you won't use it, and every person I've convinced to actually go out and buy one of these said it's almost their go-to tool now that they keep in their toolbox. I couldn't even tell you where my crowbar is. I have a big wrecking bar that I use, but this is predominantly what I use. Okay, next we have is a carpenter's square, or what's often known as a speed square. These are instrumental in what you're doing for any type of cuts. They're not going to be dead on accurate for doing a lot of trim work, though you can do trim work with them, but these are going to be mostly used for doing big framing jobs. If you're building a carport, an awning, setting up fence, whatever it is, that's what these are useful for. And the other thing that they're used for is roofing, and you can get even you can do your roofing pitch with them. There's a lot of things that you can actually do with this once you learn how to use it. The big thing that you're going to do with it is you're going to stick it on a post and make 90-degree cuts, and it allows you to draw a line there. So next thing, and I included these in one, but it's actually two tools, is your pipe wrenches and your crescent wrenches. And I included them in one because you're going to use them a lot for a lot of the same things, slightly different things. But when you need one of these, you need two of them typically, and you really can't substitute these with anything else. People try channel locks, and you just can't get the force behind your hand to really clamp down with channel locks. So that would be next on my list. After that is your channel locks. Having a good set of channel locks. Notice I'm not saying pliers just yet, but having a good set of channel locks. These actually tend to be a little bit more useful than pliers. You tend to get away with using these where pliers are the ideal tool. These can kind of substitute in there in a lot of ways. and they provide a lot more versatility when you're working with bigger things that you have to grab onto, things like pipes and something of a similar size. These are going to be instrumental there. The other thing is that little bit longer handle allows us to use them when things are really hot. So I mean, even just things like doing a barbecue grill, if you're pulling off the grate, you know, this is what you could use. And so they have some real versatile uses for that. Next, we're going to talk about is our lineman pliers. So the reason I'm saying this ahead of regular pliers is because these can be used as regular pliers, but they have a little bit more force behind them, and you can actually use them for cutting wire as well. Well, obviously that's what they're intended for. They're lineman pliers. So good set of lineman pliers will go a long ways for you in setting up your toolkit. The obvious one next is your screwdrivers. You obviously need Phillips and flathead screwdrivers. These are some Stanley ones. I got these as a Christmas gift years ago, but I've not been real happy with these, mostly because the tip of those Phillips head is just too small to get to grab hold of anything. Like my Craftsman one's a lot better, but these are the ones that I carry with me to construction sites and job sites and whatnot, just because I would rather break these than my good Craftsman ones. The next thing we need is a good utility knife for everything from drywall to cutting boxes open. You'll dull your pocket knife and you'll be sharpening it all the time if you try to use that like a utility knife. These are great. We just throw away the blade and get a new one. And so a good utility knife is just one of the very first things that you want to have in there. Now, a lot of people would think that a voltmeter will be next, and we have a voltmeter right here actually. And a voltmeter is a great tool. I like Fluke, but a voltmeter is a very good tool. I keep one in my tool bucket, and I use it a decent amount. But what I find I use more than that voltmeter is actually a non-contact voltage tester. And this is a little bit cheaper one. I have a nice Fluke one, but this is a Klein Tool one. And these will go off when they have a circuitry nearby. You set it up, and it'll actually make an audible noise for you when there's a circuit that's carrying a live current. And that way you know if you're safe to work around. So unless you're doing a lot of electrical work, these are cheaper and they tend to be more versatile, and they don't take up near as much room, and they're a little bit easier to use from a one-handed use, but you can keep it right there in your pocket and you've got it while you're working on a job site. The last thing that you need is a tape measure, and this should go without saying, but you desperately need a tape measure. You need a quality tape measure. I like Stanley Fat Maxes. I've always liked the thickness of the blade on it, or of the actual tape on it. I mean, and part of that is because when you're doing construction and you tend to have to push this out there 10 feet, the Stanley Fat Max and the fat blade on there will actually allow you to reach that and grab it in. They make ones that have magnetic tips. I haven't been too crazy about those because I find they catch on things and they tend to be more annoying than they are helpful. As far as the length on it goes, I like a 25-foot tape. You can get 35 feet. They tend to be a little bit bulky for carrying around. And the other thing that I've noticed is they tend to wear out a little bit faster than the 25-footers. This one, I've had this 25-footer probably 10 years. And then I've got another one in there that's 35-footer that I've had for 3 years, and it's already worn out, and it's time to get a new one. So if you're doing like bigger jobs, doing fencing or whatever, you're gonna get a roll-up tape anyway. So this 25-footer seems to work about perfect for most jobs, and very rarely do I find myself even pulling out the 35-footer anymore. I almost always use this. And it's a little bit more convenient to carry around, and like I said, seem to be a little bit better built. So other than that, guys, I'm gonna let it go here. We'll do another video and show you kind of what I carry on my job bucket, as well as what I carry on my mechanics and my mechanics toolkit. But we'll leave this for the top 10 starter list or whatever it is. So if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. We're really trying to grow a good channel base here. We've been getting we started off to a really good start. So make sure and mash that subscribe button. Like us on Facebook if you haven't done so, because we will be posting there. My wife tends to post a lot on that, so just keep up with us there. We'll be starting the Instagram and the blog post here soon too, so you'll get some more information on that. Thanks for watching, guys.